Good morning and welcome again to another press briefing. We do that daily. I wasn't here yesterday, I had other issues, but I'm happy to be back again today. Welcome to the various radio stations joining us. DBS, the national station, Kyrie FM and Vibes FM. The other station, Q95, is not yet on the air. There are updates I must speak about just before I introduce these very special gentlemen who are here, and ladies too. You know, ladies are here too. Sometimes you forget. Not me. Don't blame me. We have an update from Domlec, and they claim that they have not been able to do as much as they wanted. A number of businesses and up with the water demand. But we're all hoping that the weather will improve, as it seems to have today, so that they continue to provide the service. An update from Flow, that's a cell phone company. And we have a lot of interest in that, as you would expect from the young people and myself. Flow is pleased to report the addition of 3 more mobile cell sites which have been restored, and these include Newcastle, which serves Marigot, Woodford Hill and Wesley, Mount Prosper in the valley, including Shawford, Lodan, Copthall and Penville, which serves Penville. And Flow continues to work to restore all areas to customers as quickly as possible. An update from Digicel, Woodford Hill now live, providing, that is a cell site, is now live, providing coverage to the northeast coast. Marigot to come live by the end of this week, weather permitting. And the chairman of Digicel Haiti, that is Martin Bout, possibly Martin Boutet, chairman of Digicel in Haiti, in market to assist with recovery and humanitarian efforts, and it brings to the table the wealth of knowledge following experiences from Haiti in 2010. Haiti also had this earthquake in 2010, which you all recall, and in 2016 they had Hurricane Matthew. I hate to say it, now seems to be our turn. We just had Erica 2 years ago. Now we have Maria, the sister. The big sister, by the way. And we have an update from the Public Works. They're expecting a thorough update from that ministry very soon. So as soon as we have that, we'll let you have it. And Mr. Badwell of the Air and Seaports, he provided an update yesterday, and it was the feature presenter for the October 17 briefing. I wasn't here, as I told you. I had other matters which called me away in connection with the hurricane. No other matter can be dealt with now but hurricane matters. We have some very important people here today. I'm overwhelmed. I came expecting to see just 1 or 2, and I have a full crowd. If I was doing another work, I'd say, give yourselves a round of applause, but no. Don't. The Red Cross is here, represented very well. The tourism division, the tourism minister is here. Mr. Colin Piper, the CEO of, Discover Dominica is here. And we have the Karen Prevost, the permanent secretary of Tourism and Urban Renewal. Forgive me, I didn't notice the Prime Minister there. How could I not notice? His height alone should have made me notice. But Prime Minister Roosevelt's character is in the house with us today. As to whether he'll address you, I am not sure. I do not want to stick my neck out and get it cut. Prime Ministers can do that. No. But we'll see what happens later. Now, to get us moving, I invite to the microphone the Prime Minister of Dominica, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt. Let's say, yeah, of course.
Morning, just with you for 2 minutes, really. Just wanted to of course, greet all our citizens and residents and the many volunteers who are here helping us with our recovery efforts. Let me thank Dennis Joseph for doing a fantastic job on the daily briefings. Recognize the Minister of Tourism and the Permanent Secretary and Mr. Piper of the DDA and Mr. Val Coffey of the Festival Commission. But we're here to also hear from Walter, who is the Regional Director of the Americas for the Red Cross. The Red Cross have been exceptional in their assistance to Dominica after the hurricane, and they have been engaged in a number of very important activities, and of course they will speak to you of the details of what they've been involved in. But the mere presence of the regional director here, with all of what's happening in the rest of the world, in Mexico, in the United States, in Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Costa Rica, all of these countries are reeling from disasters of one kind or the other. And he has made it here to Dominica to lend support. You know, the Red Cross has many officials here assisting us in many respects, and we're very grateful for this. I met with him this morning and his colleague, and we went through a number of important elements of the relief and of course moving into the recovery mode. And one of the things that we'll be discussing further on my request is the possibility of the Red Cross taking over the relief aspect for the government, where the food supplies are concerned, and getting the food supplies to the communities. So hand over from the government systems to the Red Cross, and of course we'll discuss the modalities at some point in respect to that. But my message to the Dominican people, all of us, we have to remain positive. Being negative is not going to help you. It's not going to help your community. It's not going to help our country. Being negative is not going to get a roof over your house. It's not going to get your house rebuilt. It's not going to get our schools rebuilt. It's not going to get you back on the farm. It's not going to get your business open. We all can have many things to complain about, but to what end? To what benefit? I think it's a time for us to be optimistic, for us to be positive, for us to be hopeful. It's again a time for us to reach out and look out for the less fortunate within our community, the most vulnerable. You know, have we as citizens, as residents in the villages, accounted for every senior citizen? Have we been to their homes? You know, if we know that there are some seniors who need water, can we not ourselves fetch the water for those senior citizens rather than relying on the state agencies to do so? So we need to be our neighbor's keeper in these times, and the regional international communities are here to assist us. But the responsibility of getting ourselves off the ground is left to us as Dominicans, and so we have to carry the brunt of the responsibility and carry the task. You know, there are a number of things that we can do for ourselves in the community which will not cost us money. It will just cost us a commitment to our country and our communities. The drains are unblocked. We should unblock it ourselves. We shouldn't wait for the government to pay somebody to do it. Because if we leave the drains unblocked, if all of the rain that we've been getting, what's going to happen? Water is going to build up. When water builds up, what's going to happen? It's going to wash away what is left from Maria, our private homes. We've been able to secure mattresses and get it dried in the sun. And if we allow the water to build up in the drains and flood our homes, we're going to be affected. There are many hundreds of citizens who have received tarpaulins from various agencies. And there are many of them who are unable to place the tarpaulins themselves. Why can't we, who are able to assist in placing the tarpaulins over the houses of these people? You know, if we drive around and if we walk around in the country, in the communities, and we see that somebody's home is not yet covered with tarpaulin, why can't we stop and go to the home and find out what's the problem? Do you have a tarpaulin? If yes, can I assist you in placing it on your roof? If you do not have one, okay, well, I will speak to the authorities and get you one. And I will bring some guys to help you put it up. And I think that has to be the attitude and the approach we have to take. If we take that approach and attitude, we will move the process of recovery much faster than it's currently going. You know, we have many friends who were assisting us. I mean, last night you had the Jamaican Defense Force, while some of us were asleep, cleaning the roads for us, the streets for us, up to midnight last night. So one can speak to the kind of commitment that the volunteers here were having. Midnight, while majority of us were asleep. We have friends from Jamaica, the defense forces from Jamaica, assisting in cleaning the streets so that when we wake up in the morning, there is improved access at the Newtown Primary School for our students and for road users. So many of us who will be driving on the road this morning, having gone to bed with the road in a particular shape and state, wake up in the morning driving in a much more improved road. You know, and the same can be done in many communities. There is no complaint now of the curfew. It has been lifted in every part of the country except the city. So you can work as late as you wish in those communities. But so we have to be positive. You know, there's still just too many unnecessary negatives going around. It's not going to help anybody in this country. You know, why can't we post positive stories? Why can't we post what the Red Cross is doing here? Why can't we post what the Jamaican force is doing here? Why can't we post what the Trinidadian forces is doing here? Why can't we go and take a proper photograph of a major ship coming with supplies from a friendly nation and post it? You know, why can't we show that they're volunteers fixing the roofs of people, you know, or cleaning the schools? These are the positive messages that we need to promote. Criticisms are fine and they're welcome, but they must be constructive. It must be to make things better, not to undermine the efforts of the local authorities and those who are here helping. Because all of these people who are here helping, because of the fact that our hotels are highly compromised, are sleeping under very difficult circumstances. With no lights, no running water, in some cases sleep on hard concrete, the cold concrete, just to be here to assist us, and they go to bed with a smile and they wake up with an eagerness to help us. So why can't we, as citizens, have that same attitude? You know, we really have to be a little bit more constructive and positive in the way we view things. The government is committed to doing what we can. As the days go by, we'll articulate further some of the policies and some of the specific areas of intervention the government will work on. Today we'll hear from tourism, and of course before tourism we'll hear from our friends from the Red Cross. And tomorrow we're bringing in the planning department, physical planning department. We'll bring in a structural engineer, we'll bring in an architect, we'll bring in a builder to guide us and advise us on how we should proceed with the repairs to our homes. And we really need to ensure, and the government will be putting a team of engineers together to go house to house to ensure that before you put your roof on, you get a structural engineer to give you an assessment of this home. Because some homes, the roofs may have gone, but there are some structural challenges. And these houses will need to be broken down and rebuilt completely. We also have to deal with the designs, the proper designs of the roofs, to ensure that they are designed for hurricanes. And the construction is in keeping with the construction codes, so that we do not have similar situations occurring. So I want to thank our friend, you know, from the Red Cross, to thank you for your efforts and for the tremendous commitment that you have demonstrated to Dominica and our citizens. I really want to come to publicly recognize your personal efforts as the director, but also the efforts of your local team here, your regional team, your international team, and the many volunteers who are going into the communities, and many of whom themselves have no roofs over their heads. Many of them homes are flooded. Many of them have been impacted personally by this hurricane, but their commitment is beyond measure. They're reaching out to our citizens, and that's the attitude and approach which we must all have if we're to build back a better country and a more resilient nation. So I really want to come here to thank you publicly on behalf of the government and the people of this country for the Red Cross's absolute commitment and the amount of resources that you have raised for the Red Cross system and the number of interventions which you have engaged in and which you will be doing in the next few days and few weeks. And of course, I'm sure you'll be here with us in the very long run, because the Red Cross is here physically in Dominica, and the system here is pretty good. And with the support of the regional office, I'm sure we'll even see things improving and being better. So thank you, and we wish the Red Cross well, and to really appreciate your commitment and your presence here. It speaks, to your inner commitment. It's not about a job. It is about a love for humanity, and it's a deep concern which you yourself have. And meeting with yourself this morning, and hearing your expression and your concern and your solidarity and your commitment to our country, it is heartwarming to know that we have in you the director of the regional offices of the Americas, leading the charge on our behalf. So we want to thank you and wish Red Cross all the best. We look forward to strengthening the bonds of cooperation and the bonds of friendship which has existed between the Red Cross and Dominica for so many years. But these disasters bring us even closer together, because these are shared commitments and shared principles. So thank you very much, and I wish the Red Cross all the best. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. And those of you who do not know, you may not know, my name is Dennis Joseph. That's the Dennis Joseph he was referring to. He said I did a fantastic job, so what did you know? It's me. All right, let's get on to the program that we have for today, and that is the Red Cross and tourism. Thank you very much for coming. It's good of you to come. Let me introduce and invite the regional director, Mr. Walter Whittingham, to the microphone.
Thank you very much. Let me be very frank and very direct and express our solidarity with the people of Dominica, especially because you are showing passion, support, real commitment to work together in country. And we are here just to help and just to work together with the National Society of Dominican Red Cross volunteers and leaders. We have here the president of Dominican Red Cross. As the Prime Minister was saying, we have a meeting this morning briefing him about everything that we are doing in country and offering more support for the future. We are very aligned with the 12 points plan from the government of Dominica and working every day in the AOC for the things that are related with the short-term process, emergency, but also we are going to be involved in some part of the recovery process together with Dominican Red Cross in country. The Prime Minister also mentioned the volunteers. I would like to say that we have 150 volunteers working permanently in Dominica, coming from Dominica Red Cross, and with some brothers and sisters from the Caribbean region that are helping Dominican Red Cross too. And we have a team of 25 delegates approximately working here in different matters, specialists in different matters, especially health, shelter, relief, water sanitation, and we are doing a big job trying to support 5,000 families in the beginning of our operation. That is around 15,000 people in the round that we are dealing with. In this round, we launched an appeal. This is a global appeal for us in the Federation. The appeal is for $5.6 million, and we are now covering around 33% of the appeal, but we are improving. The effect of having not enough money for the appeal is because Dominica is experience the competition with other emergencies that we have in the region. It's for that reason that we are calling for collective responsibility of our region, different leaders, different actors, corporate sector, and government that could help Dominica. You have a space to help through our appeal, through other plans that Dominica has by the government, through the appeal of UN. We have a lot of possibilities to help Dominica in order with one plan, one master plan, that is the 12-point plan from the government. For us, it's very important to say that we are going to, we were here before, we are going to stay here through the Dominica Red Cross, and we are going to accompany Dominica Red Cross in the next period of time, not only for supporting them and through them to the national system of disaster risk reduction and disaster management, but also to help the Dominican Red Cross to be better for the next moment that you have something similar like this. That is very likely, sadly, because this is a region with risks that are permanently growing up, and it's important to be very seriously taking this kind of things. It's not only managing emergency, we need also to be well prepared for the future. Just short comments on relief. We are doing distribution of kitchen sets and blankets and mosquito nets, hygiene kits, buckets, jerry cans, and tarpaulins for around 4,000 people by now. This is done, it's in process. We are also giving water for people in, we are doing water and wet sun for people in the East Coast and West Coast. In our plants, we are delivering 5,000 liters per day, and we are trying to plan another systems to help the communities isolated. But for us, the real message that we want to deliver today is we are calling for the urgency to support Dominica. From Dominica, we are here in Dominica just to show solidarity, respect, and sense of responsibility for Dominica. We need to be serious supporting Dominica as soon as possible. This country requires full support of our region and globally, and we are going to maintain this position until the moment that we get some complete resources to do the job that is required in country. I have here the very important presence of the Minister of Tourism and people that are authorities related with tourism. This is something that needs to be recovered as soon as possible to remain, the country in good mood. But for us, the slogan that we want to use to be here as a Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, and especially through the Dominican Red Cross, is to pay our tribute to people that has died in this situation, people that lose the roofs, people wounded, people affected. That are many people, almost 100% of the country is affected. And we want to produce the effect of dignified, healthy, and resistant roof for all, together with the government and supported by other actors that are here, public sector, private sector, external entities, international organizations, but especially supported by the communities. Communities are the owners of his destiny, and we need to work with them, for them, and through them all the time, everywhere. We are doing that in the Red Cross, and our call for support is urgent and is really showing our sense of responsibility. We are going to continue seriously doing everything that we are doing through the national society here effectively, in concrete ways, and showing transparency all the time. We know exactly what we are doing, where and how. And we can show that all days for everyone. And we already present our report today to the minister and to other authorities through different sectors in which we are participating. Thank you very much to all, and I wish Dominica full recovery as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Whittingham, the Regional Director for the Red Cross and the Crescent. Yeah, Crescent Moon, I think you said it. So what we see on the blazers, on the chest pockets, the cross and the crescent. So let's not misunderstand what it's all about. The Red Cross has come to help us, and we should give the Red Cross every support. And the director mentioned tourism as one of the most important aspects of our development. We need to get that back on track as quickly as possible. That is why today I welcome the presence of the officials of the tourism department, in particular the Minister for Tourism, who I now invite to the microphone to speak to you, Mr. Robert Tong.
Good morning, fellow Dominicans. Good morning to all. It's a pleasure being here this morning. To begin with, the government of Dominica, the Ministry of Tourism and Urban Renewal, the Discover Dominica Authority, the Dominica Festivals Commission would like to send our deepest condolences and sympathizes with you who have lost family and friends and loved ones. We also feel for the people of Dominica who have lost their livelihoods and their properties. We also empathize with our tourism stakeholders who have suffered loss to property and their businesses after so many years of hard work. Many of you would have insured your properties against natural disasters and business interruption, while some may have self-insured. On that fateful day of September 18, 2017, Dominica, our Garden of Eden, the nature island of the Caribbean, after being spared from the impacts of Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Jose, was ravaged by Hurricane Maria. And for the time being, the Garden of Eden ceases to be. What was expected to reach us as a Category 3 hurricane in the span of 3 hours went from a Category 3 to a Category 5. The winds howled for about 6 hours throughout the night, and what we saw at daylight was unbelievable. The nature island and its 1,000 shades of green were no longer. Mother Nature had played the meanest trick on the island, stripped her of her identity. 90% of houses and buildings lost some or part of their roof, and many suffered additional damage. Debris such as galvanized windows, doors, trees, cars, mud, and dirt was littered everywhere. However, almost 1 month after the passage of Maria, the Garden of Eden is beginning to show signs of life. Light shades of green and leaves forming again. And even our endemic parrot, the Cicero and the Jacko, have been seen. With the assistance of donors and aid agencies, the people of Dominica and the government of Dominica, we have led efforts to clear the island of debris and to begin the assessment of infrastructure and damages to the destination. As a nation, we were taken by surprise as to the sheer force of what we faced during Hurricane Maria. While our preparation as it relates to infrastructural damage could not have been changed, we are continuing to analyze the many lessons learned and have started to put measures in place for the future. We have been confronted with storms and hurricanes in the past, but nothing like this. Ladies and gentlemen, global warming is real. The depletion of the ozone layer increases the sea temperature, which is like adding fuel to fire. That being said, the hurricane season, I think, will no longer be looked at in the minds of some as it has been over the last few decades. Based on our recent experience, mentally, we'll be ready and always be prepared for the worst. The following is quoted from a preliminary assessment report from the Dominica Tourism Association and Hotel Association. The tourism private sector will need the assurance that there will be a tourism industry for rebuilding. Unless this is assured, owners will not want to continue these long-term large-scale investments. We need to understand where the government will be meeting our needs. I want to assure the tourism stakeholders that the government is fully committed towards the tourism sector. And we have shown this commitment over the last 3 years by investing significant sums towards the marketing of our beautiful island and the investment in training, which has been reaping positive rewards. We have also implemented the low-interest loan facility for property upgrades in the amount of $15 million. The industry was built by you, over the last years with your investments, which has created many jobs, increased foreign exchange, and provided you, the stakeholders, with a positive way of life. We will continue to advocate on your behalf and will meet with you this Friday to listen and share the plans for the tourism industry over the next 12 to 15 months. The Honourable Prime Minister has given his commitment to assist. However, this must be done once the full picture of the total cost of damages has been established. But there will have to be full accountability and transparency with regards to this request. So obviously, if someone was insured and they've received some funds, won't have to know exactly what they received, what their shortfalls are, what cash they're going to raise themselves, and then see how the government can assist at that time. With regard to architecture and construction, I can say we have the expertise in Dominica and the diaspora. However, what is truly critical is the adherence to the building codes. We can no longer cut corners to save or use contractors who cut corners to increase their profits. Obviously, we have seen many of these examples exposed by Maria. So obviously, many times the house was covered, you had no idea what was there, but now that the roofs are exposed, you realize that there were lots of shortcuts taken, which caused increased damage. In addition to that, the Cabinet of Ministers have approved the removal of duty and VAT on building materials, which should significantly reduce the cost of rebuilding for a period of 6 months. The government also, since Tropical Storm Erica, has a fast-track mechanism for approving duty-free concessions for businesses, inclusive of the tourism sector. Training of staff continues to be high on our agenda, and we look forward to partnering with you and invest more in this area. With regards to our sites, the Ministry of Tourism has started the process of reviewing the sites, and many of them have sustained significant damage. And the intention is to ensure that all of our marquee sites are dealt with very quickly and urgently, so that we can bring Dominica to a state of readiness. We won't be 100% ready, but we also have to ensure that we can begin welcoming visitors to our island once we have the necessary places in place, necessary facilities in place. Persons can go to the site safely. Our roads are all cleared. As we know, most of our roads are partially cleared. However, we have to totally clear them so that when persons come to Dominica, they will feel safe and secure. Some of our marquee sites would be obviously the Emerald Pool, the Trafalgar Falls, Tito Gorge, and Champagne Reef. So those sites that persons always come to and always talk about, we have to ensure that they're in a state of readiness very soon. The Discover Dominica Authority has also been visiting the various hotels, again, to ensure their state of readiness, and my team leaders here will also explain and provide more details in those areas. In terms of access, Douglas Charles, all the airports are functional and are open to commercial business. Our seaports, the ferry terminal is now open. The commercial cargo port is now open. The only port I know that has been compromised, which will affect the cruise, is the cruise pier in Roseau. Obviously, we have to ensure that work is done on this so that we can be ready for the January 2018. With regards to the storm, at present, due to the impact of Hurricane Storm Maria, the staging of the World Creole Music Festival will not be possible due to the damage of room stock for artists and patrons, as well as the damage to the Windsor Park Stadium. The Prime Minister alluded to this on Monday, the 16th of October, and therefore we will be putting in place a following plan. So all the artists will be informed. I think they've been informed already, but it will be officially done. With regards to tickets, we are asking persons to donate the funds to a worthy cause if you can. There are many persons in Dominica, as you walk around, as you move around, who have no homes, who have no jobs, especially as some persons have laid off. So we're hoping that some persons will take it upon themselves to donate some of those funds to a particular charity. Mr. Val Coffey will also explain the process for those who are not willing to but those who are unable to make that donation, the process that has to be followed in order to get a refund. We have also The government has also taken a no objection position to relief concerts being held in the Caribbean to raise funds for Dominica. And as we speak, there are 3 events in the making. 2 of them have been confirmed. One is Caribbean Strong in Antigua on October 29th. This is done with the government of Antigua, Lisa McCool of Lava Songs, and Marshall Montano. We want to say thank you to all of them who have come forward to assist Dominica in our time of need. There's no better feeling than knowing that you have brothers and sisters out there who care about you, and just their mere presence being in Dominica to support you makes a big difference. There'll also be I Am Alive Aid concert in Barbados on October 29th. And there's also the possibility of a solidarity concert in Guadeloupe, and the date of that is to be determined soon. So we really want to thank all the persons out there for the tremendous support in our greatest time of need. In terms of Carnival 2018, our DFC head, Mr. Val Coffey, will talk more about that, but it's a time for us to start the process to welcome persons back into Dominica, and we ask all our diasporan friends to bring as many friends and family persons as possible. In terms again of the cruise sector, this is also a very important sector, and as I said before, we have to ensure that we are ready for the season. But it's very important that we cannot open our doors fully before we are truly ready. We have to ensure that the experience that persons have when they come to Dominica is a memorable one. We obviously will begin to shift our focus for the next couple of months to move towards volunteer tourism, where persons can come and do things that will positively impact Dominica. We want to encourage our diaspora friends to come back to Dominica, come and help your families, bring back supplies for your families if you have to, and also tourism for a cause. An example of tourism for a cause would be, we know that our rainforests have been severely impacted. Come back to Dominica, we will put things in place with the forestry department to allow you to build, to replant, or help us replant, so you can have an important part of helping us rebuild our forest. Come and plant 1,000 trees, take a picture, we can tag your image, tag your photo to it, and in 5 years time you can come back and see how tall your tree has grown. But all of these things will help to bring back economic activity, increase foreign exchange, help us with our room stock once the hotels are back in place. I really want to thank my team leaders and all the staff of the Ministry of Tourism, the Discover Dominica Authority, the Festivals Commission, and even the team who are on the streets cleaning up. I want to say thank you very much for all that you have done. Many persons, practically all of us, have been impacted. However, they were still able to put that aside, make time, and continue to clean. Even today, the guys have been cleaning every single day, and that takes a lot. So I really want to say thank you to all the staff, to all the team leaders for all the work that has been done. I want to remind persons in the city of Rosa especially, we need your assistance in terms of the cleaning of the city. We need persons to put out all of their garbage, all of their rubble. Because every day you clean and you look at the street at the end of the day and you see, wow, it's wonderful, it's much better than before. You come back the following day and you see galvanized, and it happens day over day. So we're really appealing to everyone, before Friday, get all of your garbage out, so that when we clean a final time, all of this stuff can be out. We don't want all the large equipment to leave the city and go to deal with other areas, and then we have that problem. So we're urging everyone, bring out your garbage, bring out your galvanized, bring out your mud, to ensure that it is done. So if you look at the bayfront, it's clean today. Tomorrow you see mud and you realize, where has that mud come from? So persons are cleaning at their own pace, but we need persons to speed up the pace and get everything out of the city. So again, I just want to thank all the staff, all the managers, all the donors who have come to Dominica and have done a lot to assist us. I want to assure the tourism stakeholders that, and the people of Dominica, that the government of Dominica is committed towards you and your businesses, and will do all in our power to assist you in terms of moving Dominica forward. I want to say that we have done this before. We have had those issues before. Obviously today it's a much grander scale, but we have been able to take care of the areas and clean them and get back to a certain stage. So we've done it before, we can do it again. Let us keep on working. It's a long, drawn out let's call it a marathon. We can't try to run too quickly. If you run too quickly, you will burn out. So let us take our time. Let us be pointed. Let us be focused and move Dominica forward. Let us move tourism forward. And I look forward to seeing the tourism stakeholders on Friday. We'll have 2 different sessions, again, to ensure that all persons can be dealt with and can listen to you. And we look forward to you coming with your solutions to how we can move things forward. Thank you very much.
Tourism Minister, the Honorable Robert Tong. We move on to the CEO of Discover Dominica, who's here with us, Mr. Colin Piper.
Thank you very much, sir. And morning to all Dominicans. Morning to tourism stakeholders. Let me also echo the sentiments expressed by the Minister to the nation and to the tourism stakeholders, whether you're in the accommodation sector, service provider, tour operator, taxi driver, vendor, tour guide, and the list goes on, as it relates to the impacts that you are feeling and suffering as a result of Hurricane Maria. I know that DDA, myself, the Board of Directors, management staff, we stand ready to advocate on your behalf so that we can get the tourism industry back. My job this morning is to inform on a number of sectors. The first one that I will discuss is the accommodation sector. And then I'll move on to tourism service providers and then deal with access. So as it relates to accommodation, Discover Dominica had 73 properties listed as functional in Dominica prior to Hurricane Maria. This translated to 909 guest rooms. Through October 17th, that's yesterday, DDA conducted a rapid assessment by visiting 64 properties, or 88% of accommodations. The damage to the accommodation plant in Dominica is extensive and spans across the island, with damage ranging from moderately affected to severely damaged or destroyed. Of the properties visited thus far, based on our assessment, 32 are moderately damaged, meaning partial structure damage, and able to operate now or in the near future with fixes and repairs, either in whole or part, and also needing assistance with lights, water, amenities to take care of things like laundry, for linens and towels. In most cases, Wi-Fi is not available. 32 properties of those assessed are deemed severely damaged or destroyed, with serious to total destruction of structures including roofs, electricals, plumbings, and the outlook for these properties is a longer-term rebuilding, somewhere in the area of 12 to possibly even 24 months. However, some property owners have indicated that they will be unfortunately unable to rebuild, but we will be having further discussions. The properties which suffered moderate damage accounts for 51% of the total room stock, or 467 guest rooms, whilst 387 guest rooms are in the severely damaged or destroyed category. Some properties have been able, as I mentioned, to begin minimalistic operations, housing mainly relief and aid workers or displaced residents and staff. Other properties may need to rebuild completely, and estimate reopening times range from 3 to 6 months to as far as 24 months out. Our preliminary position is that we're looking to get to January so that we can then have a full understanding of the operations of the industry from an accommodation perspective. By way of what we're doing now is to really advocate on your behalf for immediate relief in terms of manpower and labor to help you clean out, to better assess. We're also trying to monitor and maintain a daily inventory of the available rooms so that we can communicate that out to the wider publics, and certainly advocate for the return of utilities to properties that can be operational, that being electricity, water, and the like. As it relates to the tourism service sector, this comprises of attractions, tour buses, tour operations, and in some cases man-made attractions. The tourism services operations serve both the stay-over visitors as well as the cruise visitors. And preliminary assessments were conducted by DDA, which included actual visits and contact by telephone, precisely where roads were not motorable. And to date, we've contacted 21 of these such operations, and we are collating the information. So far, one has indicated total destruction. Nonetheless, several operations are more positive in their outlook, although they have suffered some loss of equipment, like vessels, damage to vehicles. In the case of diving establishments, life jackets, and in some cases damage to office furniture and fixtures. The outlook is more positive, and they're suggesting January 2018 as a date, again, that we can do a further assessment, and a date that they would be looking to come back on stream in a modified or limited way. As it relates to access, many would know that both airports, that's Douglas Charles and Canefield, have been given the all clear for commercial flights to resume. And by way of, and as the minister suggested, in terms of water activities, the Woodbridge Bay is open for cargo, and the ferry terminal is available for and open for ferry services. As it relates to air access, Liat is operating commercial flights. They're doing, on alternate days, they're doing a return flight from Antigua to Dominica. That's flight 623, I believe, which operates on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to and from Antigua. Departs Antigua at 11:30 a.m., comes into Dominica, and then departs Dominica at 1:10 p.m. They're also doing a return flight to Barbados, Liat 600, which will operate on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Departing Barbados at 10 a.m. and departing Dominica at noon. Liat will revisit the schedule on November 7th and will alter their schedule thereafter. And we encourage people to check the Liat website where possible for updates. Winair has operation, prior to Maria, had operations to Douglas Charles in affiliation with Air NT, and also operations on their own to Canefield. For the time being, the operations to Canefield are not functioning. However, just yesterday, Winair released that on October 23rd, in collaboration with the RNT, they will begin operations on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday from Pointe-à-Pitre to Dominica, onward to St. Martin, onward to San Juan, back to St. Martin, back to Dominica, and then back to Pointe-à-Pitre. So that will be happening on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, starting from October 23rd. Seaborne started on October 11th with a daily flight from San Juan that leaves San Juan at 12:45 p.m., arrives in Dominica, and then departs Dominica at 3 p.m. Express des Îles has been operating the service from St. Lucia, Martinique, and Guadeloupe. To Martinique and St. Lucia, the service is on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:30 a.m. and Saturday at 3 p.m. And to Guadeloupe, that service is on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday at 11:30 a.m. and Saturday at 9:15 a.m. Okay, so that is the update as it relates to accommodations, the current status. The update as it relates to the status on some tourism service providers. and the update as it relates to access into Dominica. Thank you very much.
Of course, as you may have heard, that was Colin Piper, CEO of Discover Dominica. Before him, the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Robert Tong, and he mentioned something about the WCMF, the World Creole Music Festival, which I'm sure is of interest to almost every Dominican, seeing, as I call it, it's Dominica's signature on the world. And we have here with us the director of the DCF, that's the DFC, that's the Dominica Festivals Committee, Val Coffey. I invite him now to speak with you.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much, Dennis. The Dominica Festivals Committee, of course, we sympathize with all of Dominica. We indeed were touched by this hurricane, but we are very happy that at least we are lived to see another day. We are going to continue planning not only for 2018, but we look forward to working with our diaspora, working with our friends in the private sector for Dominica's Carnival in 2018 and do the best we can for our country. So we look forward to the nation really giving us the big support. In adding to the appeal for the support, we're very happy for the various countries that have come forward and artists that have pledged support to giving us much needed aid and support. But just to add that Trinidad and Tobago, there will be an event as well at the end of this month in solidarity with Dominica. So once again, we are very happy that these artists are reaching out and these producers are trying to do their best. Those of you with tickets that you've purchased and they are valid and you have receipts from online purchases from TicketPal, you can come to the Dominica Festival's office, give your name, your number. Of course, you will have to produce that ticket or that receipt. From October 23rd, you'll have 7 days to get yourselves organized and documented. And once that process has begun, we will the week after start producing you your checks for your refund. So if you're in need of a refund for your tickets for the World Creole Music Festival, there's no objection, just that we'd like you to have your valid ticket, whether you purchase it from the DFC office or from Bullseye Pharmacy, or you purchase it online from TicketPal. You have from October 23rd for 7 days to present that information to the office of DFC or the ground floor of the financial center, and then we will facilitate you with your check return the following week. Because of the nature of the event, you must have your ticket. If your ticket is not available, we cannot really continue in terms of having a frank and open discussion, but we will like you to know that there are certain things that the act of God doesn't allow us to have a purview with. So we look forward to your cooperation, your continued support, and may God continue to bless Dominica, and God continue to bless all those who give us the support and the assistance. Thank you very much.
Of course, we've been asked to donate the money, if you can, to a worthwhile cause. And I hope that makes sense at this time. Let me welcome CBN4. Apologize for not having done so before, but they have been here from the very beginning, covering this briefing. We move on with tourism, the tourism industry, that is, and the tourism permanent secretary is here, Karen Prevost. Now invite you to the microphone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph, and I must say you've been doing an excellent job as the host for these press briefings. I'm here again this morning in a different capacity to speak about the tourism industry. Let me just join with my minister and our staff, Mr. Piper and Mr. Valcoffey of DDA and Dominica Festivals Commission, in extending our condolences, our sympathies to those who have lost family. And particularly for the tourism sector, we know that majority of our stakeholders have been dealt a major blow. But again, to join with the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister and staff of the Ministry of Tourism, we are here to support you. And we have been, over the last few weeks, communicating with our stakeholders. We have also been engaged in assessing our major tourism sites, working with our community tourism groups to determine the damage to community tourism sites. And also, we have been involved, because you are aware our ministry is not just the Ministry of Tourism, we are also the Ministry of Tourism and Urban Renewal. So the city of Roseau is our responsibility, and our ministry has been actively involved in the cleanup of the city of Roseau, and I will speak to that in a while. As it relates to our tourism sites, I would like to report that we've been working with the Ministry of Agriculture, and more specifically the Forestry Division, to assess some of our main sites. We have assessed over 30 of our tourism sites. That includes our main ecotourism sites, community tourism sites, and some of our coastal and marine resources. We will be able to share further details of the damage assessment with our stakeholders at a meeting on Friday. However, I can report that currently all of our tourism sites are officially closed. We have suffered extensive damage to the trails, to the sites, roads to sites, and some damage to the physical reception facilities. We have engaged a team of tour guides, and also we are working with the Ministry of Forestry, as I said earlier, to look at the extent of damage to the trails. In some cases, we have not been able to get to the actual site itself, but we've been able to walk some parts of the trail, and we've been able to assess all of the buildings, reception facilities around the island. Some of the damage that we have suffered has been to the access roads. So where we have only suffered damage to access roads, we'll be working with the Ministry of Public Works and the Ministry of Agriculture to clear those main roads. The road to the Trafalgar reception facility has already been cleared. However, the trail still remains to be cleared, and that we are working on with the Forestry Division. We have assessed the Monbruce site, Titu Gorge, Freshwater Lake, Emerald Pool facility, Wharton Waven, Sulphur Trails, the Trafalgar Falls facility and trail, Monbruce, where the Jacks Walk, the very famous Jacks Walk, Botanical Gardens, the Syndicate facility. We've also gotten reports on Salton Falls, Jacko Falls, Spani Falls, the Indian River, Midland Falls, and of course the Old Market and the museum are also part of our responsibility. We have also been in discussions with and have visited some other sites, to include Champagne Reef, which has suffered extensive damage to the entire facility and the area. However, we do plan to have a meeting with Mr. Clem Johnson on Monday, and we are going to do a follow-up site visit to discuss how we can move ahead with rehabilitation of the site. We have also been looking at some of our yachting facilities. So we have visited the Purple Turtle Beach area and spoken with Pays. We have also visited and assessed the Tukari jetty and the community tourism facility, which is at Tukari. We have visited Mero Beach, the Layu Beach, Kalibishi, and a few of the northeastern beaches as well. And we do know that we will see tourism making a comeback very soon. As I have said earlier, in terms of the way forward, during the next 2 weeks, the last few weeks, we have been focused on site assessments and also liaising with and conducting assessments of our tourism properties. During the next few weeks, we are going to be focusing on cleanup and rehabilitation So we have put a team in place. We are going to be moving around with the team from the Forestry Division and also a team of tour guides to create some sort of clearance to the site so that we can see what the exact damage is. We know that after Erica, some of our sites were altered, but they were all still beautiful. After Erica, there were some changes to the Trafalgar Falls, very major changes, but the Trafalgar Falls remained a very beautiful site. We do expect that it will continue to be a beautiful and a major site. However, we are going to see what we can do as it relates to access to the site. So this is what is critical for us in the short term: clearance of the main roads to the sites, clearance of the trails to the sites, and then we are going to work on repairing the reception facilities that are damaged. Some of our reception facilities, thankfully, have not been damaged. The Emerald Pool facility is actually intact, with the exception of a few areas like the Freshwater Lake reception facility. Most of our reception facilities are in a good condition, and it means that they are very resilient. Thank you very much, Minister, and that is really a plus for us in terms of being able to get our sites back and running, up and running very quickly. I would like to thank the staff of the Ministry of Tourism and the staff of DDA who have been on the field under adverse conditions, of course, to get to these sites and to be able to provide these reports to us to be able to share with you and with our stakeholders. I would also like to add that going forward, we have developed a strategy for the next 13 months, and the Discover Dominica Authority, through, of course, our marketing program, will be focusing on volunteer tourism, what we call voluntourism, and diaspora tourism. Currently, we are hosting hundreds of aid agencies and volunteer agencies in Dominica, and they are involved in various aspects of the relief and recovery process. Now, this is going to be a long-term recovery for us, and we do believe that over the next few months, we expect to receive additional visitors who will also be involved in the relief and recovery process. While all our services and amenities and access to our sites may not be available, we do want to urge our service providers and the general public to continue to provide excellent service to all our visitors who are here. So while it may seem that we have been dealt a blow in the tourism industry, we do have a number of visitors on island. We do expect many more visitors to come over the next few months while we are rebuilding and while we are recovering. So we would like to encourage our hoteliers who right now we thank for providing even the limited services that they have available. We know that you are providing these services to our visitors, to our volunteers, to the aid agencies under very adverse conditions, but you continue to do so. So we'd like to thank the Fort Young Hotel, Garaway, SeaWorld, who I know are hosting a number of the agencies that are here. We have a large team that has come from the World Bank and will be here for 2 weeks as well, conducting disaster assessments, and they are also being hosted here by some of our service providers. Of course, our restaurants and our taxi operators are continuing to provide these services, and we urge you to keep the service at an excellent level even while we rebuild the industry. From the Ministry of Tourism, I have said earlier that we are working with the Forestry Division to clear our access to our main sites. We are also going to, over the next 2 weeks, work with our stakeholders on some major plans for various aspects of the sector. I would like to provide some information on our stakeholder meetings that we'll be holding this week. So on Friday at 10 a.m., we will be meeting with the Dominica Community Tourism Association, the Dominica Water Sports Association, the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, along with the police, the Roseau City Council, and the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation on Friday at 10 a.m. at the Ministry of Housing Conference Room. Right after this at 12:30, we'll be hosting a meeting for the Tour Guide Association, vendors, and the combined taxi. We'll be meeting with the executives. We are not able to meet with the full group at this time, but we are meeting with the executives of these associations. So that'll be Friday at 12:30, tour guides, vendors, and combined taxi. Monday at 10, tour operators and the Forestry Division, and all these meetings will take place at the Ministry of Housing conference room. Now, these meetings are being planned with a view to provide further details on the assessments that we've done to date, and also to discuss our plans for rebuilding the tourism sector and getting feedback from our stakeholders at this meeting on the way forward. So again, I would really like to thank all of our stakeholders. I would like to thank our team at the Discover Dominica Authority and the Ministry of Tourism. We also would like to thank our Minister Robert Tong, for his leadership, and I would like to especially join the Minister in thanking the team of individuals who have been working on the roads to clean up Roseau. They have done an excellent job, Mr. Daryl Tit and the rest of the Roseau cleanup team, with the additional laborers that we have hired during this time post-Maria. They have been doing a good job pre-Maria in keeping the city clean, and even after this disaster, if you had been to Roseau a day after Maria and you have been to Roseau 25 days after Maria, how many days? Close to 30 days. It's almost 30 days. It is a remarkable change in terms of what we've been able to accomplish. Some of them are, some people are volunteers, others have been cleaning up in front of their homes, their businesses, their areas. But we just want to thank everybody who has been working to get Dominica back to a state of normalcy, and also to rebuild the tourism sector. It is going to be a long road to recovery, but we do expect, as Mr. Piper just said, that by January we can see some more concrete results, and we will continue these press briefings with you to give you further updates on what we are doing in the tourism industry. So you may not have heard us for a little while, but we are here and we have been working, and from today we'll continue to update you as often as we can on what we are doing to rebuild the sector. Thank you very much.
Karen Prevot of the Tourism Ministry, the permanent secretary there. And I have been asked by some persons calling and texting in what is meant by give the money, that you have already paid for your ticket to the World Creole Music Festival. And I didn't say just give it, I said give it to charity. Now here's how it works. You go to Mr. Val Coffey, who's always willing to give money, by the way, and you say, well, the money for the ticket, which could be any amount of dollars, I would like to donate that to a special charity. Charity of your choice. The elderly, the homeless, the home for the homeless, the hospital. I was about to say to me, but I'm not in that. You have just that to say, and that money will be put in that proper place by the ministry. So if you are willing, and I hope you are, to, since you have already spent the money, since you're willing, then your money will be used very, very well in promoting Dominica and helping people know that we in Dominica are prepared to do our own to help our people, not just depending on others, but doing our own to help our people. And that way you contribute. Every little thing counts. In a long road, as the permanent secretary said, it's a long road, and I am reminded of the song which I love to play by a group I love, which no longer exists, called OCBSA. And some of you may not know that name, you may think it's a foreign thing, but actually a lot of them come from the Caribbean, and they formed that group in England. And they made a song called Wo Ya Ya. They composed that. There's a part of the song I love which applies to us here. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going. It will be hard, we know. And the road will be rocky and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we'll get there. We know we will. Thank you.